Let me set the stage for you. It was late October, that beautiful Midwest kind of cold where the leaves crunch under your boots and the air smells like someone nearby just lit a fireplace. I was 38, a high school history teacher, a husband of 12 years, father of none, but dog dad of one neurotic schnauzer named Milton. So basically the same thing. My life wasn't flashy, but it was stable, predictable, comfortably dull. Until it wasn't. Tuesday night, 7:43 p.m. That time is seared into my memory like a bad tattoo. I was grading essays in the den, sipping lukewarm tea, when the doorbell rang. Now, I don't usually answer unannounced doorbells. It's 2025. We text, we don't ring. But I answered it anyway. There he was, a young man. Tall, lanky, looked like he'd borrowed my jawline and ran off with it. His eyes were this weird blend of familiar and foreign, like staring into a photo you don't remember taking. "Can I help you?" I asked, red pen still tucked behind my ear like a tired cliche. He cleared his throat. "Mr. Adam Keller?" "That's me." He hesitated, then stuck his hand out. "My name's Eli. Eli Brenner. I think I'm your son." Now pause. You ever have a moment so surreal, so absurd, that your brain just folds up shop and goes on break? That was mine. I blinked, slow, like maybe if I just didn't move, the world would fix itself. But Eli was still there, still looking at me, still breathing. Behind me, in the kitchen, I heard the steady rhythm of a knife on cutting board. Monica, my wife, my partner of 12 years, was making her Tuesday stir-fry. My whole world was soy sauce and bell peppers. And here comes this bombshell wrapped in denim and doubt. Monica poked her head into the foyer. "Who's at the door?" I didn't answer immediately. Didn't know how. "This is Eli," I said eventually. "He says he's my son." The dish towel in her hand fell like a white flag hitting the floor. Now here's the kicker. He was telling the truth. A quick dive into the archives of my memory produced one Jessica Brenner. College fling. Sophomore year. Lasted 3 weeks and one very poor attempt at cooking shrimp scampi. I never knew she was pregnant. Never heard a whisper about a kid. "She tried to tell you," Eli said, his voice calm. "But you'd already transferred schools." And then he pulled out the photograph. Me. Her. Smiling. My arm over her shoulder like I knew what I was doing with life. The timestamp was undeniable. Monica stared at that picture like it had physically insulted her. 20 years, she hissed. "We've been married 20 years, and there's a full-grown human calling you dad." I didn't know. I protested, but it didn't matter. You know that sound glass makes right before it cracks? That was the sound her silence made. Fracture. Eli wasn't there to start a war. "I'm not here to cause problems," he said. "I just wanted to meet you. My mom passed away last year. Cancer. Finding you was her last wish." That broke something in me. But it didn't soften Monica. Not even a little. "You," she said, pointing at me like I was a misbehaving lab rat, inside. Now, I told Eli I'd call him tomorrow. He gave me a motel name and room number. Holiday Inn Express. Room 214. He was so damn polite about it. Like I hadn't just upended his identity by existing. When the door closed, Monica didn't yell. She didn't cry. She turned into something colder. Sharper. "A son. You have a son. And he's been alive the entire time we've been married. I didn't cheat on you. Didn't you?" She shot back. "Emotionally, physically, what does it matter? You had a life before me that you conveniently forgot to mention." "I forgot because I didn't know," I said. There was no secret. Just a 19-year-old idiot and one summer romance. "Yeah." She leaned in, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Well, now you get to deal with the fallout." I wish that was the moment the betrayal began. I wish that kid on my doorstep was the climax. But this was only the start. The first domino. The one that falls slow. Because what came next? That's where the story takes a turn. And it all started with Monica's sudden need to reconnect with family. Her words. Not mine. After Eli dropped that grenade on our front porch, Monica became different. Not loud. Not hysterical. Just eerily calm, like one of those lakes that hides a current strong enough to drown a moose. She didn't scream or sob. She reorganized the spice rack. Alphabetically. That's when I knew I was in real trouble. 3 days later, she said she needed to reconnect with family. Her tone was light, almost chirpy. "I'm heading to the cabin," she said. "Dad's side is having a little reunion. I haven't seen them in years." Now, here's the thing. Monica hates her extended family. Once called them A collection of Facebook conspiracy theorists and people who put mayonnaise in everything. She hadn't gone to the last 3 reunions. And suddenly, after finding out I had a son, she's all nostalgic for cousin potato salad? Why now? I asked. She shrugged. Just want to clear my head. Get some air. Process. Want me to come? She smiled. Not this time. That smile stayed with me. Too smooth. Too polite. The same one she gave the priest at our wedding when he mispronounced her name, and she didn't want to correct him in public. That smile meant, I'm lying, but I dare you to call me out. So I let her go. I played the part of the understanding husband. Even waved from the porch. She drove off in our silver SUV. Luggage in the back. A cooler full of vegan snacks she doesn't even like. That night, I texted her. No reply. Next morning, I called. Straight to voicemail. Midday, I tried again. Nothing. By the 3rd day, I stopped pretending to believe the cabin story. So I did what any betrayed husband with too much time and just enough suspicion would do. I checked the Find My Phone app. Yep, still had access. She must have forgotten or never expected I'd check. Guess where her little reunion was? Not the cabin. Not anywhere near family. It was a 2-star hotel off the interstate, next to a gas station and a vape shop called Cloud Daddy's. I sat there staring at that blue dot blinking at me from room 112 of the Silver Maple Inn, and I swear, I felt my ribcage tighten like someone was winding it shut with a bike chain. And here's the part that makes this whole thing go from soap opera to straight-up Greek tragedy. She wasn't alone. Her second phone pinged too. Different model, different name. But I recognized the movement patterns. It had been with her a lot lately. Always just out of sight. And then it clicked. Her reunion guest wasn't a coworker. Wasn't a college ex, wasn't a mystery man with good hair and a motorcycle. It was my biological father. Yeah, let that sink in. My wife, my Monica, was at a motel with the man who created me. The same man who left when I was 5, then reappeared when I was 23 asking for forgiveness and a loan. I didn't even know they knew each other. And now I was staring at 2 overlapping GPS signals on a motel map like I was solving a murder in a true crime podcast. I sat in my car for hours that night. Didn't drive. Didn't cry. Just stared at the map. The word that kept repeating in my head was impossible. Not immoral. Not unthinkable. Just impossible. Until it wasn't. I didn't confront her right away. That's not how I operate. See, I'm not the guy who yells in lobbies or punches drywall. I'm the guy who collects receipts. Quietly. Strategically. Like a tax auditor with a personal vendetta. So I did what every betrayed, borderline unhinged husband with a mild coffee addiction would do. I drove to the Silver Maple Inn the next morning. Parked across the street at a 24-hour diner called Betsy's Griddle and Grind, and ordered a decaf I didn't want. From my window booth, I had a clear line of sight to the motel entrance. Room 112. I watched. And waited. And at 9:46 a.m., they emerged. First, Monica, messy bun, oversized hoodie that wasn't hers, sunglasses like a guilty movie star. Then, him. My father. The man I hadn't seen in over a year. A man whose parenting skills consisted of birthday cards signed with just his first name. The man who once asked to borrow money for a business opportunity that turned out to be a pyramid scheme involving essential oils. And now here he was, walking next to my wife like he just rolled out of her bed and into my nightmare. They didn't touch, didn't kiss. But you know how you can just tell? The way they moved, too in sync, too familiar. Like they'd skipped the getting to know you phase and gone straight to, I steal towels from your house without asking. I snapped a few photos. Not scandalous. Just damning enough. Evidence, if needed. They drove off in opposite directions. She in her SUV. Him in his beat-up Lexus, the same one he claimed was vintage when it was really just old. I didn't go home. I went to the beach instead. Sat on a cold bench. Watched waves. Thought about how betrayal doesn't hit you like a car crash. It's slower. Like a leaking pipe. You don't notice it until your whole foundation's rotten. That night, Monica returned home like she'd just been at a yoga retreat. I was in the kitchen. Making pasta. Calm. She walked in, kissed my cheek. Hey, babe. That kiss made me sick. Not because of what it meant, but because of how effortless it was. That's what scared me. How good she was at pretending nothing had happened. How was the cabin? I asked. She stretched. Oh, you know. Lots of small talk. Aunt Janet made it terrible chili again. I stirred the pasta. Room 112 at the Silver Maple Inn doesn't sound like chilly weather. Silence. Just for a second. Then, With remarkable composure, she laughed. What are you talking about? I turned, looked her dead in the eye. Don't insult both of us by pretending. Another pause. And then she sighed. Not panicked. Not even caught. Just annoyed. You weren't supposed to know. Ah, there it was. Not I'm sorry. Not it's not what it looks like. Just you weren't supposed to know. My breath caught in my chest. Not because of the betrayal, but because of how normal she sounded. It didn't mean anything, she said, setting her purse down. It was a weak moment. With my father? She winced, but only slightly. I didn't plan it, Adam. Didn't stop it either. She looked away. He understood me. Oh, that word. Understood. A universal green light for every cheating spouse in the history of betrayal. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten. I just said, you need to leave. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She packed a bag, grabbed her coat, and walked out like she was going to Target. And just like that, it was real. They say silence is golden. In my case, it was gasoline. Because once Monica walked out that door, calm as a librarian, suitcase in hand, I didn't rage or crumble. I didn't scream into couch cushions or call my buddies for emotional CPR. I sat at the kitchen table, stared at a bowl of untouched pasta, and started making a plan. It's amazing what clarity you find when someone detonates your life with a smile on their face. I replayed every conversation I'd had with my father over the last decade. Every awkward birthday card. Every dropped-in visit. And suddenly, things I'd once chalked up to his cluelessness, like asking Monica about her favorite wine while ignoring mine, or remembering her birthday but not mine, clicked into place like a morbid jigsaw puzzle. This hadn't started recently. No, this had roots. And while I didn't know when exactly it began, I knew something more important. They didn't just cheat on me. They chose each other. Over me. Let me give you something I hadn't told anyone else. My father's name is Douglas. And if that name sounds like the guy who wears boat shoes to a funeral and still thinks Bluetooth earpieces are cool, well, you've nailed the vibe. Doug left when I was 5. Claimed he wasn't ready for family life, then resurfaced in my 20s with nothing but excuses and a bald spot shaped like a question mark. I gave him a second chance. Thought maybe he'd changed. Thought maybe I'd earned a father again. Apparently, all I earned was front row seats to my own domestic soap opera. And you know what made it worse? Monica knew what he'd done to me growing up. She knew how hard I worked to rebuild that relationship. She knew how much his absence cost me, and still, she invited him into our lives in a way that couldn't have been more grotesque if she'd tried. Now you might think this is where I set something on fire, or send out a mass email with pictures, or shave half of his mustache in his sleep and post it to a Facebook group called Cheaters of the Midwest. Tempting, but I had something better than drama. I had access. See, Monica and I had shared everything. Email logins, cloud storage, even a joint bank account I never really paid attention to. Because I trusted her. Yeah, I know. Rookie mistake. The next morning, I logged into our shared cloud drive. Boom. Jackpot. Dozens of photos. Some tame, some not. And none of them remotely appropriate for a father-in-law and a daughter-in-law unless you're producing content for a very specific, very illegal corner of the internet. Worse than the photos? The messages. Text threads between them, buried in her backups. Conversations about me. Jokes at my expense. Complaints. Mockery. Nicknames. They called me the historian. Because I teach history. Doug. So what's the historian up to tonight? Monica. Probably rewatching World War II documentaries with that smug look he does. Doug. Tell him Eisenhower says hi. I read those words with the kind of numb calm you only get after your soul has been sandblasted clean. And then, I smiled. Because now it wasn't just a betrayal. It was leverage. Here's what I did next. Step 1. I downloaded every message and photo. Labeled the folder Family Archive just for the poetic sting of it. Step 2. I forwarded that folder to 3 people. My lawyer, my therapist, bless her patience, and Monica's boss. See, Monica works in PR. Reputation is everything in her world. One sniff of scandal, and she's toast. And Doug? He owns a landscaping business, but sits on the board of a small-town nonprofit for at-risk youth. Let that sink in. 2 pillars of the community. One cheating circus act starring father betrayal and the historian's wife. Step 3. I waited. Not long. 2 days later, Monica called. First time since she left. Adam, she said. We need to talk. Oh, now we need to talk? Her voice was lower than usual. Tense. You sent the files. Sure did. To my job. I figured your coworkers deserve the truth. Might want to keep you away from the interns. A pause. Then she snapped. This isn't just about us anymore, Adam. You're going to destroy lives. You already did, I said. I'm just turning the lights on. She tried the pity angle next. Said Doug's nonprofit was getting calls. Said people were threatening to pull funding. I didn't say anything. Just let the silence eat her alive. Adam, she whispered, why are you doing this? And this was the moment I'd been waiting for. Because you didn't just betray me, I said. You made a mockery of me. In my own house. With my own blood. She didn't answer. And I didn't need her to. Later that week, I had coffee with Eli. Yeah, the kid. My son. I hadn't planned to reach out so soon. But after everything exploded, I needed some part of this story to mean something. He looked nervous when he sat down across from me. Thanks for meeting, he said. I nodded. Sorry you got caught in the crossfire. He shrugged. I've been through worse. He didn't ask about Monica. I didn't bring her up. Instead, we talked. About Jessica. About his life. About mine. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like a joke. I felt like a man who'd lost everything fake and finally found something real. Revenge doesn't always need to scream. Sometimes it just needs to reveal. And when the truth finally stands naked in the light, people start running for the shadows. I didn't chase them. I let them run. Because I'd already won. And trust me, the historian never forgets. After the fallout, the world didn't explode. It just got quiet. No arrests. No lawsuits. No flaming bags on my porch. Just silence. Which, in my experience, is the loudest kind of guilt there is. Doug, my biological father turned backyard Judas, vanished faster than his alimony payments. His landscaping business quietly removed his name from the website. The nonprofit scrubbed him from their About Us page so fast you'd think he'd never existed. I heard through the grapevine that he moved 2 counties over. Started over. Again. Monica? She kept her job. Barely. Her boss, a woman named Lila with ice in her veins and standards higher than the Empire State Building, called me. This stays between us, she said. No greeting. Of course. I'm not firing her. Not yet. But just so you know, I see her differently now. That's all I needed, I replied. For someone to finally see her clearly. Click. I didn't gloat. I didn't post about it. I didn't tell friends. I just let the truth do its slow, surgical work. Now, here's the part people forget. After a betrayal like that, there's no closure scene. No teary-eyed finale with soft music playing. You're not handed your dignity back on a silver tray. You have to earn it, piece by piece. So I started with my house. Monica was still listed on the deed, and she hadn't come back for her things. She was waiting for me to break. Instead, I packed up every single item she owned. Every scarf, every perfume bottle, every passive-aggressive inspirational pillow embroidered with lies like love always wins and be the bigger person. I boxed it all up, labeled each box with a post-it in all caps, return to sender. Then I paid a moving company extra to deliver the boxes to her office. Not her home, her office. The receptionist signed for them. I heard she cried in the break room. Good. Because here's the thing about heartbreak. It doesn't have to be loud to be devastating. Sometimes, the quietest revenge is the kind that strips away someone's illusion of control. You know what I did next? I disappeared. Not literally. I didn't move to a new country or fake my death tempting. But I vanished from her world. From all of it. I blocked her number. Deleted her on social media. No long email. No dramatic voicemail. Just gone. I became the empty chair at the table. The favorite coffee mug missing from the cabinet. The silence she couldn't quite explain to her friends. You want to punish someone like Monica? Don't fight her. Forget her. 2 weeks later, she emailed me from a burner account. Subject line, talk. I marked it as spam. Then came the flowers. Delivered to my school. Roses. Peonies. Some dramatic combination meant to say I regret nothing but want forgiveness anyway. The card just read, I miss the life we had. I left them in the teacher's lounge with a note that said, free to a good home. But let's not pretend I was floating on air. I was still hurting. I was still up at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, thinking, how did we get here? Sometimes grief wears the mask of pride. Sometimes strength is just pain in a better suit. But you know what helped? Eli. We started meeting weekly. At first, it was awkward, like 2 guys trying to shake hands through a time machine. Then we found our rhythm. He was sharp, funny, thoughtful. Nothing like me, and yet familiar. One night, over burgers and root beer floats, he looked up and said, "I'm sorry it happened this way." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean the Monica and Doug show?" He winced. "I shouldn't have come. Not like that. Not on your doorstep." I shook my head. "Eli, you're not the problem. You're the one part of this mess that made sense." He stared at his glass. "I thought meeting you would fix something, but it broke more." "No," I said. "It exposed what was already cracked." We didn't hug. We're not a Hallmark movie. But we sat in silence for a long time. A comfortable one. Meanwhile, Monica started, unraveling. I didn't stalk her pages, but mutual acquaintances couldn't help themselves. A friend from the school board called one afternoon. "Hey, just a heads up. Monica showed up to the fundraiser last night, alone." "Okay." She looked rough, like she'd been crying, or hadn't slept in days. I didn't ask for more, because by then I'd stopped caring how she looked. What mattered was that I no longer looked broken. A month passed, then two, and one Sunday, while clearing out old files, I found something unexpected. A video. From 3 years ago. Monica had recorded it on our anniversary. She was smiling, really smiling, and holding up a cake she baked. Chocolate with raspberry filling. "My favorite," she said to my historian. "My anchor. My absolute rock." I watched it once, then deleted it. Not out of anger, but out of mercy for myself. I wasn't that man anymore. And she wasn't that woman. Here's the truth no one tells you. When someone chooses to betray you with the person who gave you life, it doesn't just hurt, it redefines you. But it can also refine you. Sharpen your edges. Clarify your core. You learn what you'll never tolerate again. You learn to spot lies in the laugh lines. You become the kind of person who can stand in the ashes and say, "Actually, I like the view." That summer, I booked a solo trip. Italy. History teacher, remember? I walked the ruins of Pompeii, stared at sculptures older than shame, ate gelato like it was therapy. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. Not just without her, but fully, beautifully without them. 3 months. That's how long it had been since I cut her off. No contact, no replies, not a word exchanged. It was a silence that had weight, like bricks stacked between us, one unanswered message at a time. I'd gone full ghost. But ghosts don't always stay quiet forever. It was a Thursday when she finally found a crack in the wall. I was walking back to my car after school, long day. Students just finished their unit exams on post-war Europe, and there it was. A single white envelope tucked under my windshield wiper. No name on the front, just the careful, familiar way it was folded, and a faint smudge of cinnamon on the corner. She always baked when she was anxious. I opened it in the driver's seat. The letter was handwritten, which already meant trouble. Monica only handwrote things when she wanted to be remembered as sincere. Birthdays, condolences, and now apparently, attempts at redemption. It started plainly. "Adam, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. Maybe I don't even deserve to be heard. But I'm writing this because silence has never sat well with me, and yours is deafening. I messed up. Deeply. Repeatedly. And I can't explain it in a way that doesn't sound selfish or small. But I miss you. I miss us. I miss the life we built before I set fire to it. I see now what I ruined. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope we can meet. Just once. Talk. No expectations. No drama. If nothing else, I want to apologize. In person. Please. Coffee. Tomorrow. 6 p.m. Our old spot. You know where. Monica. Our old spot. The cafe near the park, the one with mismatched chairs and the two sweet mochas. The place where we used to go on rainy Sundays and argue about whether Caesar was a dictator or a reformer. I hadn't set foot in it since she left. Now, here's where most people expect me to throw the letter away. Or burn it. Or post it online with a snarky caption. But I didn't. I went. Not because I wanted her back. Not even because I missed her. I went because I wanted her to see it. The new me. She was already there when I arrived. Sitting by the window in that same faded blue coat she used to wear when she wanted to look casual, like someone who didn't prepare an entire performance in the mirror first. She looked up when the bell chimed. And her face, God, her face, froze for half a second. That was all I needed. Because I didn't look like the man she left. I looked better. Sharper. More rested. Shirt tucked, jaw clean shaven, a jacket that actually fit. I'd started running again. Sleeping again. Laughing, even. I looked like someone who'd been freed. And she looked like someone who knew it. "Adam, she said softly, like she didn't want to scare me off. I sat across from her without a word. A beat passed. You came, she said, voice tentative. I nodded. Felt like seeing the ghost one last time. She flinched. The server came by. I ordered a coffee. She had already half finished hers. Black. No sugar. The guilt must have curbed her sweet tooth. Thank you, she said, for showing up. Wasn't for you, I replied. It was for the man I used to be. He deserved closure. She folded her hands. Wore the same ring I'd given her a decade ago, though now on a chain around her neck. A symbol of regret or just convenience? Hard to say. I've been going to therapy, she said. Not for you. For me. Oh, good, I said. Hopefully they're licensed for delusion. She gave a short, brittle laugh. I deserve that. I let the silence do the talking. Finally, she leaned in. I don't know why I did what I did. You do, I said calmly. You just don't like how the reason sounds out loud. Her jaw clenched. Doug, she began, then trailed off. Is he still in the picture? No, she said quickly. God, no. Did he leave you? Or did you come to your senses? She hesitated. I left. That was a lie. I could tell. But I didn't care enough to press it. Was it worth it? I asked. Her eyes welled slightly, but she blinked it back. Always a performer. No. I nodded. That's good to know. She stopped herself, took a breath. I've been waking up at 3 a.m. almost every night. I keep thinking about how things used to be. How much you loved me. How steady you were. How much I took it all for granted. I sipped my coffee. It tasted like closure. I thought about mailing you a birthday card, she added, as if that were relevant. I would have returned it. Unopened. Another pause. Then she whispered, Do you hate me? No, I said. Hate takes energy. You don't get that from me anymore. She looked down. Quiet. That's when I pulled the envelope from my coat. Her eyes darted to it. Hope bloomed on her face like a weed after rain. I slid it across the table. What's this? She asked. Divorce agreement, I said. Already signed. You just need to. Color drained from her face. You had this ready? Since the day I saw the hotel room on the GPS. Silence again. This one sat heavier. She reached for the envelope like it might bite her. I don't want to lose you forever, she whispered. You already did. She didn't cry. Monica never cried unless there was someone to witness the effort. But she stared at that envelope like it held her obituary. I hope you find someone, she said finally. Someone who appreciates you. I stood up. I already did, I said. She looked confused. You're seeing someone? I leaned down just slightly. Myself, I said. Finally. Then I walked out, and I didn't look back. Closure isn't a conversation. It's a mirror. And that night, Monica finally saw hers. It didn't show the man she betrayed. It showed the woman she became. And trust me, that was the cruelest revenge of all. After I handed Monica that envelope, I expected her to sign it quietly. She didn't. Instead, she delayed. Claimed she needed time. Said she'd take it to a lawyer. Which, to be clear, was code for, I'm hoping you'll change your mind before the ink dries. I didn't change my mind. I changed the locks. She tried texting me, new number, different tone. We don't have to be enemies. She tried guilt. I made a mistake, but we made a life. She even tried nostalgia. A photo of us on a Ferris wheel, years ago. Still one of my favorite nights. I didn't respond to any of it. Not because I hadn't been tempted, no. I stayed quiet because I'd already won. Talking to her again would have been like putting the ashes back in the fire and hoping for warmth. But silence? Silence was a scalpel. And she was starting to feel every cut. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a lawyer in Lansing. The voice was formal, slightly nervous. Mr. Keller, he said, we have a matter that may concern you. It's regarding the estate of Douglas Ray. The villain exit stage left. Doug had died. Heart attack, apparently. At a golf course, mid-swing. Dropped right there on the 9th hole. Dramatic to the end. He named you as a primary beneficiary, the lawyer said. We'll need you to come in. I stared at my phone for a long time. Primary what? That man had abandoned me, seduced my wife, and then left this world like he'd merely forgotten to pay his bar tab. And now he was leaving me something? When I arrived at the office, they handed me a sealed envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten in Doug's jagged script. Adam, I wasn't a good father. That's an understatement. But I knew I owed you something. Something real. So I'm leaving you the property in Traverse Bay. I bought it years ago. It's paid off. I figured one day I'd fix it up. I never did. I guess now, it's yours to do what you want. No excuses. No apologies. Just what I should have given you sooner. Doug. The property was old. A cottage near the water, mostly unused, but solid. I drove out there later that week. Just me and a thermos of coffee and the kind of quiet that doesn't ask questions. The house was dusty, filled with spider webs and stories I didn't care to read. But it was mine. His last attempt at atonement? Fine. I'd take it. And I knew exactly what to do with it. 3 months passed. Divorce finalized. Monica never got her apology. Never got closure. She'd moved into a condo downtown. No yard. No family photos. Just concrete and echo. From what I heard, she cycled through dates who never stayed long. Men who didn't know her history or thought they could fix it. Poor guys. That's when I sent the invitation. No envelope. Just a card on her doorstep. Simple, elegant. A single line. You're invited to the grand reopening of Keller House. Saturday, 7 p.m. casual attire. One night only. She showed up. I knew she would. Curiosity is a stronger chain than love ever was. She wore the necklace I'd given her on our 10th anniversary. Another trick from her playbook, weaponized sentiment. When she arrived, I was standing on the deck, drink in hand. Lights glowing from inside. Eli was there. A few friends. People who mattered. Monica stepped into the soft light of the porch. Looked around. You renovated this place? Bought it with betrayal, I said. Renovated it with spite. She blinked. It's beautiful. I know. She stepped closer. Why did you invite me? I tilted my head. Because I wanted you to see the final product. What product? Me. The cottage had been gutted, rebuilt, repainted. So had I. And the final touch? The thing that sealed it? I handed her a brochure. It read, Keller House, Weekend Retreats for Men Rebuilding After Betrayal. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. Your affair bought this place, I said. I figured it should help others heal, too. She looked like someone had just taken her childhood doll and lit it on fire. You turned our pain into a business? No, I said. I turned my pain into purpose. You're just the receipt. She left without a word. Eli watched her go. Then looked at me. You okay? I smiled. Never better. It's been a year since Monica left. 11 months since I found out about her and Doug. 9 months since I deleted every picture of her face from my phone. 6 months since Keller House opened its doors. And now? Now I sleep through the night. I drink my coffee hot again. I don't flinch at GPS notifications. I don't hear my name in the middle of someone else's argument. I don't check her social media. I don't care if she's happy. Because I finally understand. Closure isn't something you're given. It's something you build. From the bricks they threw at you. From the ashes they left behind. From the silence they expected you to rot in. I don't hate her, but I remember her. And when men arrive at Keller House, broken and unsure, I tell them what I've learned. You don't need revenge. Then I smile. You are the revenge.